So joining me now is Chris Leon, owner and wine director at Leon & Son in Brooklyn, New York. He also holds an advanced degree in wine studies. Chris, thank you so much for your time today. Obviously, you know wine. Before we talk about this potential 200% tariff, how have all of this back and forth, these trade wars, essentially impacted business so far?
You know, I actually landed in France the day after the election, and the very first question from producers were, are we expected to see tariffs, and what do we think they'd be? The last term, we saw a 25% tariff, and it took an enormous hit on the industry. 200% would, it would freeze our industry. So what I've seen people do is start to bring wine in early, but that sort of runway can only last so long.
Is this sustainable, do you think, Chris?
No, I think you have to look at a precedent for this, and there aren't many. If you try to find a country of our size that levies a tariff on wine at even something close to this, you can look at Brazil, who import wine at 100% tariff. And Brazil is not a very interesting market. Not a lot of people go there to buy or sell wine. Whereas the United States, we're one of the most interesting places in the world to buy and sell wine. And if you do anything close to 200%, you very quickly dilute our market to a place of being inconsequential. So it's hard to have a frame of reference for what sort of impact this would have, but it would be disruptive in an unbelievable and unprecedented way.
All right, so Chris, I want to talk a little bit about the president's Truth Social post, basically saying that this would be great for the wine and champagne businesses in the U.S., but talk about the fact that champagne is actually unique. Explain it. So there is nothing slapped with, the title champagne that is produced here in the U.S.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't so damaging, you would laugh because champagne is only made in France. Sparkling wine is made in the United States. And the irony here is that so much of the US wine industry is the infrastructure that we all work off of is based on the funds we get from buying and selling European wine. So, and that includes what it takes to buy and sell American wine. So if you shut off the funds and the resources we get from buying and selling American wine, or excuse me, European wine, you make it much more difficult to buy and sell wines from other places, including here in the United States. There are very obvious impacts, but that's one of those consequences I don't think everyone sees so clearly, that the foundation of everything we do in this industry comes back to importing, buying, and selling to the consumer European wine.
I mean, worst case scenario here, Chris, what do you think happens to your business, the wine industry, period, here in the U.S. if the president moves forward with this 200% tariff?
I think you get to a place where we go from being the most interesting place in the world to buy wine to a place that has a focus on two parts of the wine world. That is the large bulk commodity sector of the industry, not very interesting, high volume wines. And then the very rare wines, which are already incredibly expensive, will just become that much rare and that much more expensive. And the incredible, delicious, diverse in-between that defines really interesting wine and defines so much of the market will disappear. And I also think at some point you'll get to a place where people are going outside the normal market for a black market to find wines that they won't be able to find here.
Yeah, and Chris, okay, I want to try to look at this from the other side of things. Is there any bright side? Is there any silver lining here from your perspective?
No, there simply isn't. Because it's not that there's a domestic solution here. It's not that the consumer can turn around and find Sancerre or Rioja or a very famous wine you would expect to get from Europe in your backyard here. So not only do American consumers lose and businesses lose, you're not really affecting Europe in the way you would expect, because they're the most coveted wine producing nations. And so they have a consumer elsewhere. They have a consumer, whether it be China or Japan or any other interesting wine market that they can go turn around and sell that wine to. So really, there's no winner here, except for other interesting wine markets outside of the United States.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.